Hello, Dami. How you doing? Hi, Oti. Hello, how are you? Thanks for coming on. Promises to be an interesting time. Hello, Tolani. Hi, Nee. Hi, nice to see you again. Nice to see you, Nee. Did you try out that? Did you try out that link I sent you? I hope you tried it out. Hi, Oti. I'm doing very well. It's another interesting day. It's another episode of Young and Strong. Thank you so much for joining us. We're in for another interesting time. We're in for another lovely time. Thank God. I trust everybody is keeping safe. Everybody is staying healthy. We're staying well. I don't think any of us, yes. Oh, good. I hope it worked. Did it work, Nee? Yes, I'm smiling today, Oti. Yes, I'm feeling very well. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming on to this episode. Epic. Can you imagine? It's episode 6 already. Episode 6 already. And I mean, going back at all the amazing young people that we've spoken to over this time. I mean, Abby, Tony, Ira, Ore, Shanova, who else? Yes, those have been my first 5 and it's been amazing. I mean, Abby, I'm going to go over them again. Abby, Tony, Ira, Ore, Shanova, and tonight I have another amazing young guy who's going to be talking to me about all things young. And I know he's just fully loaded. I know he's just waiting to speak to me. Like I say, normally I always try to introduce what this is about. This is not just something I stumbled on and I decided, I want to come and put my pretty face on Instagram. No, this is something that got birthed in my heart concerning young people. And it was birthed from a scripture in 1 John 2:14 that says, I write to you young people, or I speak to you young people because you are strong. That the word of God lives in you and you have defeated the evil one. I believe very strongly in young people. I believe you guys are strong. I believe that the word of God abides in you. And I believe that you can overcome anything that comes your way. And that's why I come, not to come and talk to you, but to come and listen to young people. And I know even the older people that have come online have always said that, you guys are just loaded. You guys are just loaded. So we're looking forward to a wonderful time. So, Dami, whenever you're ready, send me a request. And we're going to get, hi, Mimi, how you doing? Dami, whenever you're ready, send me a request and we're going to just keep talking. We're just going to go in for a really lovely time. Yeah, there we are. Thanks, everyone. Let's just get Dami on. And we're going to start our... Look at you! Look at you! Dami, how are you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, there's a little bit of feedback. I don't know what that is. Is it your
Let me try and change how I'm holding my phone. 1 second.
Okay.
Better?
Yes. We'll get it. Yeah. Okay.
Gonna make a makeshift stand. Oh, I heard that feedback myself.
Can you hear? Yeah. You don't have any other device running at the same time, do you?
I'm probably no, but I will.
No, you're good now. I can hear you now. Come back.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't go anywhere. Come. What's it about the light? Have you got some light action happening in your room?
Yeah, I got LEDs in my room.
Some blue effects going on in your room.
It's actually a white light, but it just comes across the camera as blue. But as long as you can see my face, that's the only thing.
It's working for me. How are you doing, David?
I am good. Honestly, it's just my course is very draining at times. taxing. So it's like a lot of coursework after coursework after coursework after coursework after
Okay.
coursework.
Okay.
And that's all that's really been happening consecutively in this uni place with me.
Don't worry,
So,
I went to uni, so I can imagine. I can imagine. All right, Dami, let's get right to it. Tell us about yourself. Who is Dami? Talk to us. Introduce yourself.
hi, I'm Dami. Firstly, I'm 19. I am a second year chemical engineer at the University of Nottingham. Um, Other than that, I'm just a regular person. You know, I don't do a lot, but the things I do, I enjoy doing. So I sing in choir. I've got quite a strong interest in music, so that's where a lot of my hobbies lie.
Right.
Um, Other than that, how I know
Don't
Auntie
worry,
T.
don't tell them too much so that I have to have questions to ask you, you
No,
know.
no, I'm just going to give them our backgrounds, just
Okay.
something to have.
All
You know,
right.
so how I
Hi,
know Auntie
Fumi
T.
Haleke. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us. All right, keep going, keep going, keep telling
How
us.
I know Auntie T is that when I first joined choir, I joined choir in my youth church at KICC TNT. Auntie T, being the mother she is, just took me in with open arms and just really nurtured me, really helped me along with everyone else in choir. So yeah, and the relationship just stayed that way. This has always been like mommy T to the whole choir and always to me as well. So
It's nice
it's
to have
just
you. Keep pumping me, keep feeding my, feeding my mind. All right, Dami. We're going to be talking about young people, okay? All right. Don't talk about Auntie Tits now. Everybody knows I'm kind of like great. But we're going to be talking about you. This is about you guys. This is about what it means to be young, especially in these times, what it feels like. I mean, what kind of stuff do you guys go through? This is about you talking to us and telling us, I mean, what it's like to be young. So you tell me, as a young man in these times and in these seasons that we're in, not necessarily just COVID, but life in general, what is it like to be young during these times as a young man? What's it like?
I think the spectrum is very large for it, firstly, because
Yeah.
I'll be honest as to myself, as me being young and being male in this time, it's not as bad for me personally as I know it is for a lot of other people, mainly because I'm not that social of a person. If I look at a lot of my other friends, like a lot of even like first years who I've talked to quite a lot of them, it's a case of there's not a lot happening. How can we interact? How do we meet people? They have to meet people in different circumstances to what they would expect at uni. They're kind of forced into friendships more by like their who's nearby rather than where they can find people of like interest. But those that do find people like interest say that it feels better because they can always contact someone, get in touch with someone. But
So is it
for me,
that? Yeah, go on. Go on.
in this time, it's a case of having my closest people on speed now. I'm not gonna lie. I have to be very thankful for my family because although I don't reach out, they reach out to me. Like they reach out to me more than everything. Like my sister has really been a gold for me because she keeps reaching out to me because I really actually just forget to be getting in touch with people sometimes. But also just to have like my friends around, like certain people from KICC, certain people from uni that are just like always at the ready just to be like, hey, like when I talk to you like, hey, what's happening? Da, 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 da,
So
da.
do we need that? Do young people need that connection? Because sometimes you hear that people, I mean, young people go to uni or they go away from home and it's like, yeah, they don't want, they want to do their own thing. Does that come across sometimes? Maybe some of your friends, you've got a close relationship with your family. Shout out to your sister for me. But you've got that. Do you see some of your friends who are like, they kind of like don't want that connection? They want to, it's as if I want to break free kind of thing. Or do you think young people still want that connection with their families, especially when it's
Um,
uni?
for my friends, I know that there are some of them who sadly don't have that connection, but I can't say there are any of them who don't want that connection. Like even
Oh,
like some of my closest friends have like family struggles and like they know like their family life isn't amazing. Like I've spoken to some of them about it, but there's still always that aspect of wanting certain relationship with the family, like even if it's just out of the family specific people, and it pains them because they're like it seems they can't get through to them due to other interactions with their family, other relationships with other people. They still
Right.
want that familial relation, and it's always something that, um, especially in like my youth church, a lot of us or a lot of people speak out like, oh, there's just like issues in my family right now. Like it's just like hard for me to talk to my family right now. And it's like it's something that I feel all young people want and need. Like honestly, I feel like it's very necessary because these are the people who have been with you the longest. Regardless of anyone you know, these are the people who've been with you the longest.
Longest, yeah.
Like, it's like you want them to be there for you, you want them to support you, but some people truly um don't get that system, and it hurts because it's like how can you not be there for me? But these people who I've met like 2 years now have been like more family to me than anyone that's back home.
So
And that's why
when we sometimes get that vibe that, young people want to be, oh, we want to be independent, we want to, so it's like really and
it's not,
truly.
it's not a thing of being away from family, it's a thing of having the freedom to move. Because
Do
having the
you feel
freedom to do,
constrained by family?
personally, I don't, but I know even in myself, there are certain things I can do at uni that I can't do at home. Like just as simple as like, oh, I'm going to meet up with this person right now. Like,
Hmm.
so at home, I can't really just leave the house with no notice. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a sign off on it. And it makes sense because I'm back in my parents' home and they want to know where I am. That makes
Yes.
sense. But
Yes.
when I'm at uni, you have the freedom to move because you are, in the end, responsible for yourself and only accountable really and truly unto yourself. So
Right.
you have to make the logical decisions yourself. You don't have the secondary wisdom factor being your parents to be like, should you be going now at this time? Really and truly, where are you going? And this is how a lot of uni people make good choices and bad choices. Because like sometimes you'll go to a party that started at 2 a.m. You didn't need to go at that time, maybe. Or you decide, oh, do you know what, even though it's late, I want to go to this church thing, I want to go to this person, like I want to go be there for that person. Like you have freedom to move. For me, like when my friends say they need something, I'm the type of person I want to like leave everything I'm doing and go help them. And I've had the freedom to do that a bit more like in uni. Like one of my friends called me and said, oh, they're going through something. And I literally left what I was doing and I walked 20 minutes to their house. And then that's it. When we talked, we sat down and talked through it. And then I went back home. And it's
So
like
how
I
do
can
you maintain that balance of I've got freedom, yeah? Because like you're saying now, if you want to pop out, let me just say hi. My sister's on there. Bobs, how you doing? Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm talking to Dami, a young man, and he's giving me all the lowdown of what happens in uni. Okay, so so you've got that freedom, yes, but
mm,
how do you balance that with, should I call it common sense? Do you understand?
well, yeah.
Because there's that freedom, but sometimes I wonder, yeah, we're now free, we can do whatever we want. How do you maintain that common sense?
Honestly, it's I feel like part of it is I'll answer this a different way. I feel like what removes that common sense is peer pressure in a lot of things,
Is what?
especially peer pressure and
Peer pressure.
expectations.
Aha.
Because
Okay.
expectations of uni for some people is, oh, parties every other night, this, that, and the other. So when these things aren't happening, when you hear one's on, you're like, I have to be there. It's like a case of fear of missing out, peer pressure, like people are saying, oh, you got to be there, come through, you got to do this, da, 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 da. And it's like, what else? Like, you just feel like, oh, I've got to go then. But your common sense would say, no, it's literally a new day. Like, it's 2 a.m. Why are you leaving your house at this time? When will you get back home? You have lectures in the morning. Da, 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 da. And like, all uni students have these thoughts. Like, we all have the thought of like, see, because at parties, you hear us talk about it if we go. You'll be like, oh, I've got a lecture in like 3 hours. I've got a lecture in like so. Like, I really have to wake up for this lecture. And it's just a case of like, this wasn't a smart choice, but it seems like the choice that will make me feel the best at this time, which is something a train of thought that is very dangerous because it like leads other people's uni lives down very different paths. Some people just go partying a lot. Other people get involved with a lot more different things, whether it be like they come to uni, it becomes their first experience with drugs or becomes their first experience sexually or all these other things. And it's like, it's not even acting in a way that's like, these things are dirty. It's just like, this is what happens. Because when you now have this freedom, you have a chance to explore what you didn't get to. And
Right.
it's like you have a chance now. You never saw or even got near drugs when you were back home. But now in uni, the person a block down from you is a plug. He's selling. And it's like that's such easy access. And your friends are here, so and they're doing it, so that's easy access. And then it seems weird that you're the one person who's not. And it becomes a case of have you set your morals in stone, and so much so that you will not budge. Like one thing I've had to say multiple times, because I go out to parties for my friends, the people I like. If there's not enough people I like at a party, I will not go because I don't interact with people socially that well. I'm not that social.
Mm.
So when it comes to a thing of people asking me like, "Oh, you're gonna drink or what do you want to drink?" I'll be like, "No, I got water. I'm cool." They'll be like, "Oh, do you not drink?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I don't drink." Then like, why? I say, one, I don't want to, and two, I don't. I believe I shouldn't. And they'll be like, "Oh, is it like a Christian thing?" I'll be like, "Yeah, it's a Christian thing." And they'll be like, "Okay, cool." Like, and then we can have a discussion sometimes, and that's the way it goes. Other people have just like dismissed it and be like, "Alright, sure, whatever." I'm being kind of annoyed that I'm not drinking with you. And it's like, but it's a case of choosing what you want to do and understanding what you want to do is what you want to do rather than what do I have to do to fit in with everyone.
So do some
When
people go into uni and you just want to fit in? It's not so much the fact that
I feel like the first thought isn't really fitting in, but making friends.
because
And the case
okay.
of it is that you're in a new place. A lot of the times you don't know anyone. Sometimes you've come up with a lot of people that you're like Dartford Grammar. Nottingham is flooded with Dartford Grammar students. A lot of them know each other already, and like, a lot of people are from the same areas: East London, South London, like we're from the same areas. But then when you come up and you don't know anyone, and you have to make those new friendships,
Yeah.
you wanna you like some people have don't want to put in effort, but some people don't know how to, and therefore doing being on the same wave as them is an easier way because it makes you have a thing in common. Where it's like, oh, like you're here doing this as well, I'm here doing this as well. Let's vibe together because we're both doing this. And it's like
Mm.
a lot of people will make their friends through course mates, and then once they meet other people outside, they'll make them in other ways, whether it be through conversations, discussions, or whether it just be through just having a good time together in any way that they deem. And that's honestly just like a case of making friendships and relationships that, whilst they might not be too deep, like that might not be the person you call when you're at your lowest point, but it's someone that if you see them in a place where you feel unfamiliar, there's a link and you can now go over to them and they're your route to try and like be like, okay, I'm not alone anymore. And I feel like a lot of people plant those seeds around uni to be like, I don't have to be alone in places because it'll be like
So is
someone
there
says we're hosting a party, and then you can hit up all these other people, be like, oh, are you going to be there? Are you going to be there? Are you going to be there?
so is that kind of like would you then say that there's kind of like I mean from what I'm getting and it's an interesting point that when young people do that transition, there's some kind of loneliness.
Oh, most definitely, most
Oh,
definitely. When you
but
go
we
into
think
uni,
because we think. Sorry, I'm going to let you answer because hello, Uncle Bumi. Because we assume you're going into uni and I mean there are thousands of people, so you go there and but it's not always exactly like that, is it? When you transition into uni, it's not
it's because there's two aspects. There's being around people, and then there's being with people.
okay. Okay.
When I first came to uni, I was around people, but I wasn't with people. There weren't people I was with. Like this wasn't my friendship group, and this wasn't the people I was like communicating with, talking with. Like
Yeah.
you can feel alone in a room full of thousands of students because you don't know anyone.
Okay.
Like that's just as simple as it is. Like to simply just like chat to someone is taking a lot out of you because depending on who you are, because you might be a very social person and can talk to anyone, but then again, that still might not be someone you feel like, oh, I know you. There's definitely an essence of loneliness at the start of uni because you're living alone technically, for some people who do studios, but then you're living with random people. More so, if those random people you might not even get along with. So now it's your secondary home environment is not fully freeing because you don't get along with some of the people you're with.
Okay.
And
So
there's just an element
wow.
of like, where am I, like, who am I truly with? Like, who can I communicate with? I'm not back home. I can't just go to my mom and my dad and my siblings. Like, they're far away now. So who do I go to? All I have here is me. And some people here see that thought and think, wow, this is really depressing. Some people are like, well, I guess it's time to restart since all I have here is me. Like, let's see what I build from this point. And that's how
Wow.
some people seem like two different people when they're in uni and when they're home. Because they literally built up two different people. One was built under the nurturing of their mother and father and the environment around them, schools and everything. The other one is built in uni by themselves, for themselves, to see what they can get from the experience.
Like a coping mechanism, isn't it? That's how
Pretty
you can
much.
cope with what. So what can we do? You know, I mean, this is amazing. I don't know if anybody else. I mean, I can see from me saying agree with the loneliness at the start, because I've never heard this before. And but what can we do? How can we? Is there a way, parents, is maybe older siblings, we can prepare? Do you think there's something we can do? Is there some way? You're saying, no, 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 Auntie, T, don't go
Not
there.
really. Because
It's
there
amazing.
really
I
isn't.
mean, lonely.
You're not preparing your children to live alone. Like, that's not what any parent's
Shouldn't
gonna
we think we shouldn't we? I mean, what do if there's any parents on the
do.
chat?
I feel
Don't
like
you
the
think
point
we
is that
should?
uni is that time. Like, right now in the system we have, uni is the time where people learn to live alone to sustain for themselves. Because unless your parents are supporting you financially, you're doing student finance and you're having to budget yourself, you're having to go buy for yourself, you're having to feed yourself. And it's like, there are people who will cook every day, there are people who will order takeout every day. And this is the way they will live in the future, like progressively. They have 3 to 5 years, depending on what their course is, to learn to live alone. Essentially, that's it. Because when we come out of uni, like, a lot of graduates either live house share, like with their friends, or they live alone. Like, and the way they'll live is how they used to live in uni, not too far off it anyway. Like, there'll be a growth, but it won't be too far off it. So I feel like no mother's gonna really say to their child, for the sake of growth, go and live alone and be going to sixth form and be going into college and be doing like, no one's gonna do that because that's not really an answer to it. I feel like there's a transitioning stage, and uni is one of the biggest transitioning stages because it's something you've never really done. However, what Fumi said in the chat is very key. Like, teaching them the skills to live alone is very important
I love that.
because
We got
because
to
there
teach
are
you guys to be independent, right?
yeah, because there are a
So
lot of people
parents,
who,
we shouldn't give them money anymore. Just tell them go work and
hold on, well, let's not say that. Let's not say that. But no, 'cause what's it? When you there are a lot of people in this place who don't know basic skills. It's very, very honestly, there are people who can't iron. There are people who can't wash clothes. People who can't cook. Like, they literally can't cook. And it's like, but you've come to this place separate from yourself, and you know you're going to be away from your parents. Did you not prepare yourself? Did they not think to prepare you? And that is in no means a way, like, a shot at people's parenting, because there are parents that, like, just love their children and really want to take care of every aspect. But again, there's an element that this child needs to grow. You will not be with them forever. Will they live in your house till they're 35? Like,
well, some would love to, but we're not going to allow that.
it's true. Some people would love to be there, but you have to be your own person at the end of the day.
Right.
And
Right.
I truly believe, like, when I see some of these skills, I truly thank God for my parents, because I'm like, they have me, or even my sister as well, because they have me cooking, cleaning, washing, doing all these other things that just have come to me. And I'm like, oh, I can live by myself. I can cook for myself. I'm not doing takeout every night. I'm here eating well on, like, a good budget. Da, 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 da. And it's like, that preparation really took effect, and I've seen it in my life. Like, this is where you see it takes effect.
Right.
Like, there was even an aspect of me wanting to understand independence more, where This story is always funny because I was going to apply to Cambridge on chemical engineering course. I went to like the open days. I went to see like how it was held, and I just remember them basically saying that every accommodation was catered and that they would like do the lunchtime, the breakfast time, and all this. And I just remember going, no,
Really?
because I was like, I wanted uni to be a chance for me to like understand myself, to grow myself, to handle myself, to like actually be independent. I didn't want to have to abide to like the waking up times of Cambridge, the eating times of Cambridge, because they wanted you to focus on your studies to the maximum and therefore not worry about food, not worry about all this stuff. But I was like, no, but when I get out of Cambridge, I'm going to live on my own. Should I not know how to budget? Should I not know how to cook? Should I not know how to like discern things in simple prices, like going to stores. Like I've been to every store that this Nottingham place could offer: Asda, Lidl, Aldi, B&M, Poundland, Sainsbury's.
What are you, a
Tesco.
shopaholic? What are you
I'm
going?
going to all of them to find what the best price for little things are.
Amazing. All right. Okay, you're a bargain hunter, eh?
I know where to get certain things from to save my money. Like that's the
Ah.
point. It's like it's like when I heard that they wanted to do it for me, I was just like, no, I don't like that. And that's exactly what I said to my dad. And then I said to everyone who asked me about it forward, I was just like, I feel like I wouldn't learn there. Like, yes, I will learn chemical engineering, might even learn to a very high degree, but I wouldn't learn life skills.
Life skills. All right. I mean, amazing, amazing, amazing. I mean, I can see the chat. What he said, Bond sports from Cambridge graduates. It's true. And it's amazing what you've said about independence. I mean, independence is you can teach independence. Independence is not naturally inherent.
Mm.
From what you're saying, it's not as if a child will just go and then they're independent. So it's something we need to teach our children to be independent, to be able to. Fumi has already said we shouldn't take the money, that we should give money, but teach you how to manage, how to manage it, and all that. And I think that's interesting. So maybe the peer pressure comes from the fact that a lot of people, a lot of young people, are not necessarily independent and comfortable in what they are and who they are, and the ability to stand on their own.
I feel like peer pressure just adds on to a bunch of insecurities of young people. A lot of insecurities that young people wouldn't speak about. Like image, for one thing. Like, there's especially, well, my side of this generation, a lot of the people I know, a lot of people I talk to, like even the people that I'm not really close to, but I just know, we rag on each other a lot. Like we take the mick out of each other constantly, and it's a common thing. So I feel like there's an element of I don't want to be the butt of a joke today. I can't let them know this is how I live. Like that
Okay.
is one element of certain things. Like they hide, there's a hidden part of certain things. Like people don't want to share everything because they feel like they'll just be made fun of, and that is very true. Like it's very true, our generation, and it's not a great thing. It's not a good thing, but I feel like it's just part of the way we cope. We just make humor out of everything, and I feel like the
So,
insecurities that show a lot of people are anxious. A lot of people have image issues. A lot of people have FOMO, fear of missing out. There's a lot of insecurities in this generation that are just that if we all were to say, I don't really care what anyone thinks, live life, everyone would be a lot happier, but we just don't do that. And I came to a point in first year, just end of sixth form, where I basically said, I don't have to care what anyone thinks of me, and I
really?
don't have to be around anyone who I don't want to be around. Like it just dawned on me. I was like, I don't have to interact with people who I don't want to interact with, whether it be for sake of appearing a certain way, being liked by said person. If I don't want to interact with that person, I do not have to. I will love them with the love of God always, because that's just what I believe. But I do not have to like or want or be around this person. Like there's no force to do that. There's no need for me to force myself into situations that aren't not even benefiting to me, but aren't useful or positive or will bring anything fruitful from it. Like I
Really?
feel like a lot of us put ourselves around people who we don't necessarily like for sake of popularity, for sake of appearing this way. Because there are people in friendship groups who seem to have control. If you look at a friendship group, they see you can normally, or in some of them, not the great ones, not the great friendship groups, but in some friendship groups where there's a power dynamic, you know who's that person, and therefore that person is the one you want to be like seen in a good light by. And I just realized anytime I see that, I'm just like, no,
Not having that.
not about it. Because
So
there's
now,
no,
yeah, so there's image. When you talk about image, that's an interesting one. So is it what they look like, who you hang out with, what you have? Is that all part of
all
the
of,
package of
all
what
of it,
young people want to express, think
all of
they
the,
have to express?
all of the above.
Okay.
Image in terms of fashion is something that in the recent 2 years, I'll say 2 years, a lot of young people have started to step away from conforming to fashion images. And I love it. Because you start to see a lot of young people dressing how they want to dress. Not a
Right.
case of modesty, but just dressing how they want to dress, whether it be like a lot of floral, a lot of freewear, a lot of just like simple stuff, or whether it be quite a lot of dark stuff, quite a lot of like chains, necklaces, and there's no image connotation of it being, oh, you're goth, you're emo, you're this, you're that. There's no label. It's just how they want to dress. And I love that because it means that no one has, you only have to care for how you look. Like,
Mm.
no, you don't care about how people see you, but you care how you look, and that's it. Like all these guys that used to, because there was a fashion or a trend of hype beast before, which was you need to wear big label or you don't dress well,
Isn't
and
that
that was
still
normally
part of it? Is that not happening anymore? You know me, I'm
it
not
happens. It
cool.
happens, but there's a stronger narrative now of you can have as much money in the world, but if you cannot style what you wear, you are not dressing well regardless.
So it's styling now, not designer.
Exactly. You can have your Gucci belt,
All
your
right,
Louis
that,
Vuitton
that,
shoe, your biggish, your 10K shirt, whatever. But if you can't wear it, if you can't style it well, not worth it. Someone wearing all as the brand can look better than you in simple glance because they wear it well. And that's a true thing. That's how fashion works. And I feel like as that has become understood, it's like you either dress well or you don't dress well. That's just how it is. And these things can locally be learned. So it's not an issue. But it's like when it was a thing of you need to have big brands, this was causing people stress because they needed to appear like they had more money than they have.
right. Even young people, yes?
Yeah.
Especially.
Like
Okay.
even in sixth form, open day, no, what's it, not open days, non-school uniform days. Yeah. It was a case of, oh, you see some people coming in with £200 shoe, they're coming in, oh, belt that's worth 1K. It's like, we know you didn't buy this, but now there's something of the image of like, oh, this guy's got money, this guy's got that. And it's like when it came to the other person who was wearing their hoodie and their cargos, like people didn't say nothing about them. But when you put them next to that person, it was now a thing of like, huh, you can't even get what I'm getting. And it's like, it seems like a rhetoric that isn't even new. It's not new at all. Because you see it in movies from as old as 1960 in a
Mm.
school doing, oh, like Mean Girls type vibe. And it's like, it's
No, I'm
continue.
looking at I'm looking at Marley saying people are renting expensive.
It's honest. No, they actually are. They
They
actually
rent
are.
clothes.
Selfridges set up a rent system. Like you can rent expensive
Right.
clothes.
Well, they won't do it now with COVID. I'm not renting anything anywhere now.
Oh, they don't do it. They can't really do that
Wow.
anymore. But
Right.
like that's what I'm saying. They set that up. Selfridges is smart. They set it up because they saw that people want to be perceived in a certain way, and they had the stuff that they wanted. They needed to be perceived in that way. So they said you can rent our stuff, but you have to bring it back because you don't own it.
Okay. All right.
And a
So
lot of
there's
high
that image thing, yeah?
that image, and that's just clothes. But then it's like you have other things as simple as like, oh, what's it? Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well, that one can pass.
So there's just that need to kind of like conform to what people think you look like. I know quite a few number of people have some of the young people that have come in here have talked about the fact that there's this image that everyone thinks. I mean, it comes from things like social media, even comes from friends and who think, this is how we're supposed to look, this is what we're supposed to
Mm.
say, this is how we're supposed to talk. Even this is where we're supposed to be seen. I don't know if that still happens where there are particular hangouts where you guys have to be for you to be. I don't know what word you use. In my time, we
Not,
used to say
not
if you're happy.
really. I
I
feel
don't
like
know what
that's
word you say
seen
now.
in specific friendship groups that abide to certain cultures. So it's like I know there was a little rhetoric of just don't be around certain areas because this is where so and so people are, or like oh that's quite a skater area. Like little things still exist like this. Like the term skaters still exists.
What did you call it?
Skaters, like just like when you're kind of dressed down, but also kind of street fashion, and like you just seem zoned out. Like these kind of people, like you'll recognize someone off their vibe and be like, oh, you're a skater. And it's like not many people say it, but we all have this like understanding of like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So,
Like there's
so
little
wait,
things that still
Dami,
hold.
you have to help Auntie T here. So, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing. It's
Okay, all
it's not a
right.
bad. It's just a categorization of someone's
Oh,
lifestyle,
okay,
the way they act, so to say.
all right.
That's how it is. Just like another subgenre of people, if you want to
Okay.
call
Now, I mean, you've told me so many things about you guys, and something that I've always been interested in is having looked at it and having lived it and having seen it amongst yourselves, amongst your friends. You have kind of like fashioned your path in a way as to this is what I want, this is what I want. If you were telling me now, Entity, my generation or parent or something, how can we help? What do you think you guys need from us? Because I do understand that you want to be independent, but I believe that generation needs to help the other one. So what can we do? What would you expect from us as parents, as older, as the other generation, the older generation? What are some of the things that you think we can contribute to help you guys be who you're supposed to be? Oh, you guys are doing well.
I feel like the main thing that could be beneficial is just helping in the process of raising children, helping them understand who they are. Like that's really all I can say. Because a lot of people's identities will be fashioned around um who they interact with, where they go, what's around them. And what people come to uni and realize is that, oh, flip, there's more to it than that. Or this isn't actually where it was. This was just because I was over there. And I feel like as a parent, you can help your child by when you see them having little habits from young, whether it be like, oh, they seem to like music when they're young, help them raise that. Keep it as a core part of them. If they like art, help them raise that. Keep it as a core part of them. Little things. Because I feel like what our generation needs is unshakable truths. Whilst I find all of mine from, or I want to continually find all of mine from the Bible and from God's word and from my faith, other people don't have that benefit. Like they find it elsewhere. A lot of people put it into what they do, and that is very shaky. And it becomes a thing like, who am I? Like, where do I actually go? And I feel like if you have unshakable truths from young, which parents can't necessarily take the full credit for, because obviously it's the person's first purpose to actually even find it, and then parents can help grow it. But if you have those unshakable truths, it will just be easier because you always know at least certain things remain.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, parents honestly just they do their best. Teach independence, teach mannerisms, like please, because a lot of people I know that some parents will be like, I don't know where they got it from. They seem to be because there are people in my generation who are not good people. Like they're good people, but not good people. Like misogynistic. You have sexual predators, you have rapists, you have all these people, and it's like you are not even 20 yet, and you're already
Nasty.
doing all these things. Like this is how did you get here? And it's like it can be one thing. It can be the people they're around or the people they grew up with. They might not have had the luxury of growing up in a good home. They they might have had abusive parents. They might have had an abusive family. They might have had an abusive upbringing. And like, there's the only thing you can do with that is hope that the next person who's in this situation doesn't have to go through that abusive upbringing. They don't have to see all of this, which can potentially lead them later down a darker path. And so, as parents, it's your job to set an example, to set
So they need to teach you. When you say manners,
in a
what
way that
do you mean manners? I know we're losing a bit of connection. When you say manners, are those? I know that you've talked
I
about
think
some of the heavy stuff, but what about basic manners? Do you think that's something that's missing as well?
sometimes there are just rude people about who will just be like, nah, I don't need to say thank you. I'm one to myself. Like, but I feel like most parents try to teach their children, say please, say thank you, say these basic ones. Other things like respect women, like one of the biggest ones, especially now. Like just respect women, like don't be going around treating women in such a manner, especially there's just a lot of heavy stuff right now in this generation. But even like simple things are just like when you see someone, help. That
Mm,
helps if it's just like a lot of us are taught a lot of us can be taught to like mind our business.
right. I mean,
Like that's not your business, mind your business. And that's a good thing. And honestly, there's a line that needs to be drawn between like helping everyone and minding your business. Sometimes you need to mind your business for your own safety. Like, don't go and involve yourself in big situations where you see groups of people fighting. You're like, you want to come in and be the savior. Be like, no, guys, stop. We should love each other. No, like, mind your business. Maybe call the police. Get one security guard. Don't go and put yourself in the middle of a 10-man fight. But at the same time, help people. If you see someone struggling with groceries, just offer be like, oh, do you need help? If you see someone like in the store, like just seems to be lost or seems to be looking for something, like, do you need help? If you see someone on the streets just seeming lost, just be like, hey, do you need help? Like you never know what type of people you meet, which is a good and a bad thing. So again, always discernment and caution.
you need discernment,
Please,
don't you?
discernment.
You need to be cautious, even if you're
Yeah,
gonna help. Yeah,
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 because
yeah. That's
because
true.
you never know the type of people you interact with. But again, you never know the benefits that can come from interacting with a person.
That's
Like
interesting.
the, the effects of just meeting one person on your life can be very drastic, and people don't really think about it.
Right. Now, let me ask you this question. If you could, I know you're an older teen now. Yeah, you're a young man now, eh? Sit
Mm.
down.
Mhm.
What is something you would want to tell younger teenagers? What is one thing that you would really want if you had the opportunity to tell them something? What is one thing you would tell them, maybe having lived through that time? What is one thing you would want to say to them?
Stop caring about what people think. I feel like that's one that's been repeated by a lot of people, but stop caring about what other people think. It is such a drain on your whole being to care what other people think. There is no reason I should care what other people think unless I'm in the presence of an interview, a manager, or things like that, where it is related to occupation. I gotta care what you think because you're my superior. I need to know that we're on good grounds. If it's just someone you know in school and they look at you sideways, don't now go and spin a whole thing of, oh, they hate me. Is it because of this? Is it because of that? If someone says an insult to you, don't now go and look in the mirror and think of yourself in that light. Always understand who you are by what God said, by what the word says, because that is the only thing that is true, in my opinion again. But all honesty, just stop caring. Like, don't stop caring for people, but stop caring what they think about you. If someone cannot say what they think about you to their face, more time their opinion is irrelevant because they don't even have the guts to speak it.
Mm,
If someone can come and tell me I'm in the wrong to my face, I will take that more on board than someone who I hear through 4 different people has said something about me. And I can't even be against them because, like, you said it to my face. You weren't hiding. Like, if you can say it to my face, you have enough courage to say it. It's then on to me, do I want to take it or not? But
right.
regardless of it, that is none of my business what you say about me. Like, people be like, but they're talking about you. I don't care.
Oh, wow.
They can talk about me, but what do I gain if you talk about me? You don't gain anything. I don't gain anything. We are mutually wasting time if I care about what you say and you just talk about me. Unless you are here sending my name out to CEOs so I can get money in the future, you don't need to even mention my name. Unless you're here using me as an example to evangelize, you don't need to mention my name. Unless you're here just talking positively, you don't need to mention my name.
Mm.
And unless you come to me to directly correct me, you don't need to mention my name. You don't need to say to someone else, Dami could have done that better. What's the point in that? I'm not going to do it better next time because I haven't heard that. If you come to me and tell me, I feel like you could have done this better, I will take that on board and I can be like, you know what, they might be right.
Mm.
But if anything said that is anything about me that's not said directly to me cannot be of benefit to me.
So don't care what people say about you. Marley made a good point. He said, care about the people who care about you. So if somebody who cares about you comes and corrects you, of course, but not them talking all over the place, and just chatting away about you, because I know that's something that's quite destructive, and that's something that does affect a lot of young people. Somebody said this and somebody said that, and we've got things like cyberbullying and people just making comments and
The
things
internet
like
is a
that.
term.
And it's almost like you've got to develop a kind of like should I say the armor or hardcore, or you've got to, and I think it also, would you say it also comes from you knowing who you are, being comfortable in yourself, knowing who you are and saying, look, this is me, like you said, having an identity from God, and just say, look, so whatever the chit chat that's coming around, let everybody,
Also,
for themselves, I know who I am, kind of.
one thing I'll say to parents also, steer your child away from the internet as much as possible. They need it at a certain point, but I'm not going to lie, the internet is a very destructive place. Oh my gosh, it is. Like, it's only now in my last 3 years of living that I've had to take cleanses from social media because it can just be so bad. Whether it be sexual frustration because the internet is littered with pornography, or whether it just be like hearing people just talk bad to you on something as simple as an image, a picture of you. Like, people just go onto the internet and speak. They don't think about repercussions. They don't think about how people will feel. They just go on there and literally verbal diarrhea, and they just go off and live their life. Which is why it's like you need to stop caring what people think about you. But when you're on the internet, you open yourself up to the opinions of everyone. So, like, parents, I'm not saying hold your child, be like, you can't have Instagram until you're 22 or something like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Well, we might do that. We don't know.
just be, to be fair, Instagram's regulations already say I think you're not meant to have an account until you're like 16. Like, but you have 12-year-olds on Instagram, so I don't really understand that. But anyway.
But be careful.
Just be aware that your child is accessing something and you might need to talk to them. You just might need to talk to them. Especially if your child is below 13, just keep regular checkups on their social media. Like, so because they might not tell you what they've heard. They might not tell you what someone said to them. So if you can see like, oh, this person has been mean to my child, it's not for you to now go and say, square up and go and fight the person over the internet. That's embarrassing. Don't do that. But your child,
so I can't go to my child's school and face the child that, I shouldn't go to school.
I can't promise that. So depends how you handle the situation.
It's all right, Dami, you know me. Yeah.
Depends how you handle the situation. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm cool. But no, that's a valid point. About the internet, about what we expose ourselves to, and as parents, just be careful. I mean, the older you get, and I think it also comes, as we gradually round up. Thank you. You said so much in my head. It's just like, wow. Conversations. I think there has to be a lot of conversation.
Oh my gosh. Communication is too key in every aspect, whether it be relationship, because a lot of relationships are lacking in communication, but even between parent and child, because I'm not going to lie, depending on how you raise your child will determine the amount of communication. Like, it's only until the last 2 years that I've been talking to my parents in a more open manner, like like much more open manner of like my life in general. And it's like it took me getting to a point where I was like, this is my mom, this is my dad, they love me regardless. Like, let me speak to them to get that. And it's only been about since November time that I started opening up to more people, just in terms of friends around me, for the sake of my own mental health. Just being like, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm telling you how I'm doing. I don't care if this was courtesy. You're getting my answer from my mental health. But communication between parent and child is so important because a lot of people lack it, and then they speak their issues to someone their age or someone who may not be the best influence, and they get the answer from them. And that's what's set in stone. That's how they then understand their situation. That's the light. So it's not even it's a case. It becomes a case like, have you truly raised your child? Yes, you fed them, you paid all their bills for them, you've supported them, you sustained them, but motherly, have you raised them? Because where did they get their information from? Was it you, or was it the boys in the changing room from in year 6? The year 11 boys were telling him about all these other things, or was it the girl? Was it the older girls talking to your younger daughter? And you'd be looking at your child wondering, wow, they're growing, but where did this change come? You can't even look back on what you've spoken about because you haven't had the conversations. Like, they didn't get it from you. So it's like, honestly, parents speak, just speak. Your child, it depends on the way you raise them though, because if your child feels like they can't come talk to you without fear of being beat, without fear of yelling, without fear of straight just aggression, rather than understanding, they won't talk to you. They won't talk to you, period. They're not going to come. If your first response was the belt, this isn't attacking parents right now. It doesn't mean to come off like that. If your first response was the belt and was to yell in their face and tell them, why have you done this? Who made you like that? All these things that have aggressive and negative connotations, rather than to be like, and why have you done this? With the tone of voice that is, I want to understand you. I want to see where you're coming from. And then repercussions.
Discipline.
Which, yes, exactly.
Discipline.
They're not going to talk to you if they feel like all I'm going to get is aggression with no aim to understand, no aim to hear. Like, we all know when we're in the wrong. We know.
Exactly. I think you do.
But what we want more time is for our parents to not just come and be like, you useless child, and then be like, beats and all this wooden spoon belt, whatever you got. We want you to either come and just be like, okay, you know there's repercussions for this, but tell me all that's going on, tell me everything. Because that builds the communication. It's like, I know I did wrong. I know there's going to be repercussions. I can't be mad at you for that. But thank you for talking. Like, just thank you for communicating. And while children might not voice the whole, oh, thank you so much, because I really appreciate that you got to understand me, you're not going to hear those words out of a child more time. But you might hear them out of the child when they're 22. Because they will look back and they'll be like, oh, my parents really aimed to understand. They didn't just beat me. They didn't just yell me down. They didn't just hold me down. They really aimed to understand. And they spoke to me and they built me. And I truly feel like that will prepare a child much better in every instance. I don't feel like there's any place that's not applicable. From anything across the board, repercussions must be up to standard. Like, there must be a standard of that repercussion. Your child cannot go and kill someone and you say, oh, you're going to be grounded. No, it's jail time, please. It must be.
I forbid that. No, we're not going to go that far.
That's just an extreme instance. But the repercussions must match the offence.
I understand.
They have to understand for an offence there is a repercussion, because that is something they need in life. A lot of kids who were spoiled in that sense, a lot of kids who were spoiled in that sense come to places like uni and talk a lot. They don't realise that there are people here who grew up in harsher backgrounds and will punch them square in the face. For the sake of your child, teach them there are repercussions to words and to actions. Because there's someone out there that is ready to punch your child there are people out there in these streets, real life right now. There are people out there in these streets that are ready to kill.
So you
That is
need
not a
to make
joke.
sure that you make sure that we children, I mean, and our young people know how to have the proper conversations, know what the repercussions are for the things they do, and just make sure. I think all round conversations, not just do and this is what you get, but a matter of this is why this happened to you. This is what you need to understand. This is what you need to know. So, like we said, it's all about conversation. We need to talk to our children and we need to listen to them.
I feel like a very easy way to put it, which might not apply to everyone, but let's just say this. If you want your child to live long, teach them repercussions, teach them manners, and just genuinely teach them to just be a good person.
Okay.
Because Auntie T, I'm not even joking right now. These streets are littered with people carrying knives.
I
And
understand.
they're our age.
So
Who
we
are they
need
using these
so
against?
we need to know. We need our young people need to know how to comport and to conduct themselves. And that
Exactly.
comes from us having, as parents and older siblings, and anyone who can help them to
Influence
understand
youth.
this is life, this is how you behave, this is how you talk. I mean, Dami, you've gone really deep, a lot deeper than I thought we were going to get. But I mean, I wouldn't trade this conversation for anything. Thank you so much. I know, I mean, I try to keep this within an hour, and I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed at the things you've shared tonight. One thing that struck me, the issue about uni and loneliness, and we need to understand that we have to teach our children independence as they go through stages of life. So when they get to that stage, they're not just like looking around and having to either hook up or join something so that they can overcome that. We have to have those conversations with our young people. Don't be afraid to have a conversation with a young person. Be able to tell them what they need to know. And then for our young people, your word to them is don't care what people say about you. Be comfortable in who you are. The people who care about you will tell you the things you need to know about yourself. So don't be hung up. And let's
Exactly.
be careful about social media. If you are not watching Young and Strong, why are you on Instagram? I was just joking. But, but honestly, thank you, Dami. I'm sure everyone that has been able to join us has heard a lot. You've gone really, really deep and you've really been quite open about some things that, I'll skate around, I'll be talking about. And I think it's important. I wish you all the best. Thank you, everyone that has joined. It's good to see you, Jenny. Thanks for joining us. And I do hope that we continue to have these conversations. I'm sure you're going to show up again sometime and you're going to have something else to tell us about it. Wish you all the very, very best in your continued journey in uni. You know where Aunty T is at any point in time. Thank you, big sister Funmi, for being such a wonderful. I'm gonna give her a shout out. What do you mean? Being an awesome older sibling, and to everyone that has joined us, thank you so very much. Thank you, Dami, and I believe that our young people are destined for great things. I believe you guys are destined for great things, and whatever support we can continue to give as parents, as older siblings, as aunts, as counselors, as in whatever ramification we stay, if you continue to help us to understand, which is what this is about, we believe we'll be able to step up even more to the plate. So, son, thank you very much. Auntie T loves you from the bottom of my heart. I keep rocking that blue light, honestly. All right, everyone, that's all we have for tonight on Young and Strong. I'm going to put it out a post tomorrow because we're having something really wonderful on Sunday, our next edition of Mom's Word with Auntie T. And that's going to be an interesting one. All right, and God bless you. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks.